it's your girl Kimstrology here, and I'm back with some more Astro Tea. This time I'm back with some more mythology. I know it's been a little minute. Okay, I know I skipped over Sagittarius or Jupiterian mythology, but we will indulge. Okay, I just was very busy in December. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and please do comment. I love reading you guys' comments and having conversation with you guys. If you guys are Capricorns, if you have Capricorn placements, if you have Capricorn moms, as Capricorn represents motherhood, or even if you have a father, as Capricorn is connected to the father as well. Capricorn is connected to both, and we will see why when we look at Greek Capricorn's mythology. Okay, now Capricorn is a cardinal sign. Capricorn's modality is cardinal. Capricorn's element is earth, and Capricorn is yin, otherwise known as feminine energy. People usually kind of get it twisted and assume, especially if you're a beginner in astrology, a lot of times people assume that Capricorn is a masculine sign, but it's actually not. Even though it's very take charge, bossy energy, it's definitely based off of feminine roots, very more intuitive, internal, introspective energy, and also can be ruthless as well, which is can be very feminine. Feminine energy is dark energy, let's not forget. Okay, also the mascot, or the spiritual mascot of Capricorn is the sea goat, right? So the goat in astrology, or in Greek mythology, is connected to Cronos. There was actually one goat in particular. Now the goats were known to have top half be goat, and the bottom half is like a sea creature. So the sea goats. Okay. Now the sea goats were very intelligent, intuitive. They could speak. They could think. They knew what was up, basically. And these creatures were created by Cronos. Now Cronos is connected to Capricorn, as is Pricus in Greek mythology. Now both of these are connected to Capricorn. Like I just mentioned, Cronos actually created Pricus, which is a sea goat. Now Cronos, let's start off with Cronos. Now in the beginning of time, based off of mythology, there was nothing, and then came darkness, and and emptiness, basically in confusion, and then came light, which brought love and harmony and neutrality. So then came day and night, and from day and night brought Gaia, mother of the earth. Mother of the earth. She then created the universe, also known as Uranus. Okay, and Gaia, mother earth, and Uranus, the universe, got together and made marital bliss, made babies, and they were living their marital life, going about it, just chilling as husband and wife do, and procreating as husband and wife usually do. And see, what had happened was Uranus was he was very frustrated by some of his children. He imprisoned a couple of his kids. He just was not a good father or husband. Let mythology tell it. So she basically, this frustrated guy, she was like over it, like, I'm done with him, like, I'm on my summer walker stuff, I'm gonna have a hot girl summer, get my body done, and just be back out, be back out there in the club. But first, give me a new stepdaddy for the kids. But first, I gotta get rid of this ninja here. So she ends up creating like a flint sickle, like a very sharp dagger, basically a shank out of stone. And she was very savage. Gaia basically, she was trying to coerce one of the children to attack Uranus. None of them, all of them were basically, meow. So, they didn't want to do it, except for the youngest child, Cronos, aka Capricorn, who was just about it, just didn't care really, was just like, okay, sure, I'll do it, win. And so Gaia's like, tonight as we lay. So he creeps up on his father and ambushes Uranus. Cronos ambushes Uranus as he lay in bed with Gaia, and he cut his genitals off. Threw it out the window, Lorena Bobbitt style. If you are a 80s baby, you know what I'm talking about. You understand the reference. And from that, he threw it out the window. They live in nice by the ocean, so it gets chucked into the water somewhere. And again, from the sea foam, if you watch my Venus mythology video, go check it out. Aphrodite was immediately brought to life from this, from the sea foam and blood created from Uranus's genitals, floating around in the ocean. So again, all the signs are definitely connected, and already we're seeing like love and relationship difficulty when we're talking about the sign of Capricorn, and also that relationship between the strained relationship of the father between mother and father, and that almost the emotional incest, in the emotionally incestuous relationship that I discussed in the Capricorn Sun Woman video between Gaia and Cronos, like, and all her children really, like, I'm done with your father. I'm sick of his shit. Like, can you please, honey? This would really make your mom happy. I can't really afford a divorce. Like, could you imagine, like, having your child plotting to kill your husband, not even the one do it yourself, not even really plotting to kill your husband, essentially having your child do it, literally having your child do it. And yeah, again, this is really just kind of tying things together when we're talking about the psychology, because again, the psychology is tied into the mythology and astrology. So the background is very interesting, and it really tells us a lot about the signs, as I always say in these mythology videos. So again, you're seeing like that dark, pensive nature, that early maturity early on in life, taking life very seriously early on, as Capricorns are very known to do, and also kind of being like just like this little old wise man, or old soul, if you will. And again, this could be because of the encouragement of mom and having to kind of like shoulder the weight of mother's emotions or family responsibility, or both in Cronus's case, or usually in the case of Capricorn. So, it's not really clear what happened to Uranus. It said that he either just fled the earth, went into obscurity, took a trip to Italy and exiled himself, one of those three. And from that point forward, Cronos, instead, you ruled the kingdom, was in rulership of a god of all gods. First of all is Cronos, which, again, there goes that bossy energy, that rule, that tie we have to government and to like laying down the law. Capricorn energy, or even Capricorns being tied to being like the eldest sibling. Even though Cronos was the youngest sibling, he was the only one of his siblings that was willing to step forward. So that role of responsibility, that ambition, because he did, go on to take his father's place. So he ends up marrying his sister Rhea, as people do. And they end up having their own children. But mind you, as they're chilling in marital bliss, before that, Uranus basically cursed him, color purple style, was just like, you're basically going to reap what you sow, and you're going to be overthrown by one of your sons. And also, this is something that Gaia, his mother, predicted as well. So he was just very paranoid, very drunk with power at this point, from being a young child, just already kind of being that very murderous position, basically, or just very violent position as a child. Cronos was just already kind of just like, no, I can't lose what I've worked so hard for, what I've built, so he was paranoid, just as paranoid as his father was, even more power thirsty than his father was, even more adamant to keep his place, as he saw it, than his father was. Again, that Capricorn ambition, that relentlessness. So he devises a plan, and so as him and Rhea have children, he swallows them whole. Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Prometheus, etc. They all get swallowed up whole. And he's just like, yep, I took care of that problem. And he's just, basically he feels no type of way about it. He's just like, again, that sense of power is just deep within him. And also, again, Hades is one of his offspring, as Cronos is god of the gods, right? So there goes Hades' connection to power, or kind of just being, it's almost like it's inheritance, right? So this, naturally angers Rhea, as it did Gaia, his own mother. Women, you can't mess with a woman's child. You already know a mother and her child, she's gonna like lose her shit, basically. So this is what happened, basically. She kind of like grows sick of this, and then so the next baby she has, she's like, this one he's not swallowed and whole. And Zeus ends up being birthed, but in his place, she basically hands over Cronos a stone wrapped in swaddling like cloth. And so he's thinking it's one of his babies that he's eating, but it's actually stone. I don't know what's with these women and stones in their family, like as a form of a weapon, but it worked. And these were it worked for very powerful entities. So I guess, honestly, that kind of makes sense. That kind of connection to me, like we tie into like stones and crystals and energy. I think that makes a lot of sense. And even when you look at black tourmaline, which is Capricorn stone, it does like look like it's like more like rockish than a lot of other gems that you come across, like very stonish. Anyway, so so Zeus ends up getting to like live his life and grow up, and he ends up inquiring about how to like take his father down, and he ends up like giving Cronos something to drink that ends up having him basically regurgitate all of his swallowed children, who were gods. So they sprout back up to like just fine, and they proceeded about their godly lives. And yeah, like he goes on to have to like go out of his. Zeus has to like really try pretty hard to take down Cronos at that point. Cronos was like a badass, basically. If you want to, hear more about that story, let me know, and I'll kind of go more into depth in another video. But I did want to kind of get into the story of Prickis briefly, because it does tie in to like again some of the traits of Capricorn. Now Prickis, again, who was a sea goat, who was basically produced by Cronos. He had children of his own, sea goats of his own, who enjoyed like basking and sunbathing alongside the ocean shore. But if they did this for too long, that they were at risk of developing regular goat legs and losing their ability to think and speak, and also losing the ability to go back to the ocean, essentially leaving their father grief-stricken and abandoned, their father Prickis. So he was very frustrated that this was happening, that they were actually going into the sea, going onto the shore, developing goat legs, and essentially like losing their ability to speak and just becoming regular goats that we know today. So he just decides, as he is the god of time, him and Cronos rule over the ability to manipulate time. So this is where that energy of Capricorns having that never-ending youth, or having great skin, or literally aging backwards, is tied into like that sense of like that they're basically gods of time. Now Prickis being God, a god of time, Prickis having the ability to manipulate time. I'm sorry. He basically decided to reverse time back into before his baby goats went out to the, onto the shore and developed goat legs. So he's doing this over and over and over. Don't take your ass to that water. You better not go to shore. Like, stay your ass in this house. Nope, I forbid you. No matter what, no matter how many times he did this, they still was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm about to go out and smoke weed on the beach with my friends. I'll be back later. And, again, he would just end up heartbroken no matter how many times he tried this. They were destined to repeat. They were doomed to repeat ultimately their own destinies, which is what he ultimately had to realize. So he just eventually accepted his loneliness and fell into a deep depression. There goes that ties to depression, and Capricorns have to ties of loneliness and sense of depression, and also swallowing or bottling their feelings. I'll just keep it to myself. I'll just take it to the chest. This is essentially what Prickis did, and he ends up I'm sorry, the name is I tried to look up the correct way to pronunciate it, and I couldn't find it. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But Prickis, he basically asked Cronos, could you just kill me? And Cronos instead made him an immortal constellation that we know today as Capricorn in the stars. Okay, so essentially he was able to connect with his children from all over, from high up above, amongst the gods. And there we have Capricorn mythology. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Okay, later.